What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be discussing the latest upcoming new meta for update 46, what everyone's basically going to be running unless they make any drastic changes on the PTS as it is at the moment, incorporating one of the newest mythics and certain class passives and skill lines. It's really going to create this incredibly strong meta that was probably already around, but it's going to get even worse, guys. So we're going to get straight into it. What the stuff that players are probably going to be running as this new meta, and it's just going to be very, very difficult to combat, but there are going to be some things you're going to be having to run to basically survive, and that's how bad it's going to get, guys. So we're going to get into the first one, which is on the screen here, guys. And basically, in a nutshell, the new meta is going to be super high critical damage. You're going to see much higher numbers than before. Probably everyone's going to be incorporating these four things at a minimum. So obviously you're going to get the minor force, which is easily sourced, and then on top of it you're going to get the new mythic, which is the monomyth reforged, which is going to give you access to major force. So that's already 30% critical damage. In combination with this, you can run the Adric Spear, which is going to give you another 10%, and also the Nightblade one, which is another 10%. I do believe they've nerfed it slightly by about 8% down, but to be honest, it's still going to be super strong. So what you're going to be seeing in this new meta, guys, is people are really going to be pushing that critical damage super high, and that is what is probably going to be the new meta. So it's going to be huge amounts of critical damage. You don't even need to run Khajiit anymore. Obviously that's going to compensate with it and make it really good as well, but to be honest, like I said, the amount of critical damage that players are going to be stacking is going to be really serious unless they make any drastic changes in the PTS, or if they adjust this mythic. It's just going to be crazy the amount of critical damage you can push, well beyond the 125 in PvP. The 125 PvP cap does not exist, it's just a soft cap. It does exist in PvE, but in PvP you're going to see people going 150, well, 150% and beyond in critical damage. So it's going to be really hard to resist that, and of course they're going to put this in combination with those spec bows and all sorts of craziness. People are going to be slapping super hard. A lot of players are going to go to this, and this will probably be the new meta. So how to combat this? So first things first is you're going to be wanting to run, of course, none other than Rallying Cry. It's one of the best sets you can run on backbar anyway. It's basically going to give you a ton of critical resistance, 1650 critical resistance, and some weapon and spell damage. But you're going to definitely need this. Like I said, I think normally you'd probably run around 2.5 to 3k critical resistance. I don't think this is going to be sufficient, guys, because of the huge amounts of critical damage you're going to be seeing. You really need to be pushing it as high as possible. So Rallying Cry is definitely going to be one of the main go-tos in backbar. It was anyway, but it's going to be more relevant than ever. So definitely make sure you get this on your backbar, guys, in PvP, as it's really going to help you and offset a lot of that critical damage. But it was probably enough in the previous patches, but the more critical damage being stacked, you're probably going to need other sources as well. So we're going to get into another great set as well, which is really great for critical resistance, which is the Fast Rider. So when you deal damage with a blink, charge, leap, or teleport or pull ability, it's going to decrease the critical resistance of your enemy by 40%, but it's also going to increase yours by an equal amount for 10 seconds. So this is going to be another great set. It's only single target though, so it does have that disadvantage, but again, it's going to give you that much needed critical resistance that you're definitely going to be needing. So definitely check this one out, guys. Another great PvP set, but I think it's going to be utilized a lot more in this upcoming patch, as like I said, the critical damage is just going to be off the rails and just super crazy and super mad. So these two sets are going to help you out big time. And there are some other things you can do as well, guys. There's some CP as well that can also offer a little bit more protection. Obviously, critical resistance is not going to protect you from everything, but I think the main sources of damage you're going to be receiving next patch will be critical damage. So also here is the CP, which you'll be needing, which is in the blue CP, and it's called a Resilience, which is going to grant up to 660 critical resistance when it's maxed out. So this is, again, is probably going to be another must. So basically what I'm really getting at, guys, the new meta is going to be super high critical damage, as it's just so easy to stack it ever than before. It was already quite high to stack on certain classes with the Warden and the Templar and the Nightblade, but yeah, it's just like, this is what you're going to need to do, guys. But like I've already said, this is subject to change because we are still in the PTS testing stages. They might make some more drastic changes. They have nerfed the Nightblade a little bit on the week 3, but it's not enough to really offset what the new meta is going to be. People are going to be running super high critical damage, guys. They're going to be spec bowing you. They're going to be hitting you with some crazy stuff. And like I said, if you do not have that critical resistance, you are going to go down incredibly quickly. So make sure, obviously, you have your main resistances there, your minor and major protection, but make sure you have an absolute ton of critical resistance. So like I said, at a minimum, you want at least 3k now, just to offset such huge amounts of critical damage that you will be receiving in the upcoming patch, unless they make changes. So yeah, that's just my advice, what the new meta will be and just how to obviously combat that. So drop the video a like, guys, subscribe to my channel, let me know in the comments your thoughts as well, if you think there's also a different meta, and also if there's also any different ways to combat this and try and fight against this. Obviously you can just run high critical damage as well against high critical damage and just see who wins, but just trying to soak this damage up is going to be very, very difficult indeed, guys, like I said, unless they make changes. So that's the end of the video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.